One of the biggest mistakes that music creators make is thinking that every chord progression can only express one single emotion. So I wonder how they cope with the fact that Whistle by Flo Rida and Jar of Hearts by Christina Perri use the exact same chord progression, but convey very different vibes. So let's dig into why that is. This example comes from my free guide, 5 popular chord progressions and how to use them, which you can get in my profile. The chord progression that both of these use is the most popular chord progression, otherwise known as 1, 5, 6, 4. And the numbers just refer to the chord that's built from the scale step in their respective keys. So Whistle's in C major, which means that its chord progression is C, G, A minor, F. And then Jar of Hearts is in G major, which means the chord progression is G, D, E minor, C. So we say that they're the same chord progression just in different keys, so then the vibe or the emotion that these two songs express logically cannot come down to just the chord progression. So there has to be other musical elements at play. So just looking at the sheet music, I have the piano roll below as well. There are a couple things I want you to notice. First off is called the harmonic rhythm. That is just how fast the chords change. And in Whistle, the chords change every half a measure. So we've got 2 chords per measure. Additionally, I want you to notice this little accompaniment pattern in the middle here. This is like where we're building our chords from, is from this like middle voice here. And notice just how much jumping around it does, from low note to middle C to a G down to E and so on and so forth. It just keeps jumping around. And then the melody also has some bouncy moments. While it does start off with like repeated notes and then a step up and everything, it also includes some jumps and some leaps. So we jump down from C down to A here, and then we jump up from G to C here, and just like lots of jumping around that you can see just visually without even having to read the music. You can just see that there's a lot of bounciness going on. It might even be easier to see in the piano roll version of it. So let's listen to that excerpt real quick.
Can you blow my whistle, baby, let me know. Girl, I'm gonna show you how to do it, and we start real slow.
So that's that excerpt. So try to keep that in the back of your mind, and let's look at Jar of Hearts. So similarly, I want you to pay attention to the harmonic rhythm and notice that we only change chords every 1 measure in here. So we've got 1 chord per measure here. So that's significant. I also want you to notice that our little accompaniment chord in the middle here isn't jumping around. And in fact, like a lot of it is happening in the bass or the left hand, where it's just repeating the chords as like block chords is what we call this texture. So it's just repeating the notes like that. And then in the melody, we have a lot less jumping around as well. There is a jump from this D up to this G, but for the most part, all of the movement on the melody moves by step or just stays on the same note. So let's give that a listen.
And who do you think you are, running around leaving scars, collecting a jar of hearts and tearing love apart?
So overall, the biggest difference really comes down to what kind of activity is happening in both of these pieces. In Jar of Hearts, we get a very ballad-like sound because of those repeated block chords and the absence of a bunch of like jumping activity. And then in Whistle, we get more of a carefree sound and like more of a party vibe because of all of that jumpiness, not to mention the faster harmonic rhythm. It's moving twice as fast as in Jar of Hearts, even though it uses the same exact chord progression. So if you're stuck trying to find the perfect chord progression for your music, don't sweat it so much. Just start with something simple and start messing around with the harmonic rhythm and how much activity there is in the accompaniment and in the melody, and that'll help you convey the vibe that you're going for. And if you need some more help, this free guide will help you out as well.